in bot lane, so we'll have to keep our eyes on Jinting and or Jinsane, I should say, and Hyo-Young in the bottom side. So Ryze gets taken away, and it will be the Evelynn responded like last time.
Yeah, although the top lane's a big matchup to watch, I will also be pointing towards the bot lane. Aether has been underperforming as an AD carry. Oh, sorry. Oh no, what am I talking about? That's another game. Ignore everything I've said. I know absolutely nothing.
So this is the LEC, right? The totally wrong notes in front of me.
Yeah, we got the right notes in front of us. We got the right mic sensitivity settings done. We're dropping
because it was like when I was checking my settings, everything was fine on my end. Then I listened back to the stream, and everything sounds like as if I'm speaking through a pillow that's made of computer parts or something.
I do apologize to you, Aether. You'll get your roasting in the next game when you come up. I think, are you next game? I can't remember, but
is it on your notes?
It's definitely not something that I've got.
Notes for you if you want.
Yeah. So an interesting stat from last week actually with Bendix playing. He had 293 CS at 23 minutes. He managed to flame Horizon his opponent mental, and that was just insane. I think that's probably the best performance we've seen of him so far in the league. That CS per minute is filthy.
It's a pretty disgusting stat, to be fair. It really is. But Karma locked in now for the side of Clique, and J4 locked in. It could be for Dino Ricard, it could be for Tyrant in that jungle position as well, or it could go to Hyo-Young, AP Jarvan in the bot side. But...
Oh yeah, that's an oldie but goldie. I would expect to see it going to the jungle. It's a good takeaway from Pravius. J4 has been a pretty solid pick for him so far in the league, and I know he does like to play it quite a lot.
I like the Silas pick into J4 though, because you can just seal it away. So
yeah, true. I would like to see the Silas going into the jungle again. I think it's better than it is in the solo lanes at the moment, and it'll be nice to see Pravius on a bit more of a carry-orientated jungler, things not being just the Bendix show. But then again, it could be Silas in the mid lane. I'm sure Bendix has got that in his wheelhouse, and he'll be able to stun us again. We will hopefully get confirmation soon on that Annie pick, see what it is, and the Master Yi, another proxy pick as well.
Maybe. I'd love to see a Master Yi. Just pop the Highlander.
Annie equals Aatrox. Okay, so that's a really good pickup for the top lane as well. We saw it last game, the amount of power and damage it managed to pull up. Didn't end up getting Bulldogs the win, but still a lot of power within that pick.
And the Master Yi is a Caitlyn.
Yi is a Caitlyn. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Seen a lot of resurgence of the Caitlyn pick, and nice to see the Sivir locked in, could just block the Piltover Peacemaker, the Yordle Snap Trap. We could basically negate everything from the Caitlyn that you wish to really negate, depending on what you want to really focus on. But Karma, a bit of flexibility on that pick as well. It could be going towards Sentinel in that bot side, Akkers towards the top side. Don't really want to see it in the pocket of Akkers. I'd like to see him on a more aggressive sort of playmaking top layer like the Nara that he's known for.
Yeah, and that's the Akali ban coming from Clique side. That's the first one that's not really like a one-trick ban. Evelynn, big pick for Tyrion, and Kai'Sa, big pick for Jhin Lightning, as well as we saw how good Dino Ricard is on Kled in week 1, so smart of them just to take it away.
Because they definitely probably would have, well, definitely probably, it's a great way of phrasing it, they would have prioritized, I think, that Kled and might have gone for the Aatrox otherwise, but nice to see the Corki banned away. Bendix, pick something different. We want to see your S+ status on something that's a little bit different, and maybe he'll pick up the Azir. Maybe it's the Karma.
4 mid lane bans now towards the side of Bendix. Maybe he is just gonna go in and play the Karma. I wouldn't expect it. I'd expect him to be on the very hard carry. I mean, if you count the Akali as well, that's 5 bans already, possibly another one. Yeah. So Orianna, another big pick for Bendix. We've seen him on it before. Very heavy comfort pick towards him, so good to take that away from him. It'll be really interesting to see what he can do on maybe his 6th best pick. I mean, if he does pick Azir there, Azir is still a pretty good pick at the moment.
The bird is the word. Pick it up. Otherwise, Bendix, you're just not allowed to play League of Legends. You will lock in the Azir. The Azir half of the Azir Corki matchup. We've seen him play the Corki really, really well, which is one of the reasons why they're undefeated.
I'm not sure about the decision to ban all those 5 champions, and then
I don't think you can ban Bendix out.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so either. With Azir being left up, that means it's just. I mean, maybe he's not as comfortable on it, but I'm sure with how good of a player he is, he can play it. Hyojung picking
Echo gets picked into him as well.
Yeah, and Hyojung picking up the Lux as well. Really strong pick for him. He's shown that in the past, in the games that he's played on it. Really, really strong pick for him. Very hard comfort. And we'll see what the last pick coming in for the side of Clique is. I will expect to see a counter pick coming in. Maybe we get the same match as we had last game.
Maybe. Wait in the last few seconds to see what gets locked in. Might be hovering it just as an ode to SKXR, but it will be locked in for Akers towards that top side. Another aggressive top laner for Akers. Good to see him on a pick that has some playmaking potential, even if it does lose out early on.
Yeah, definitely. Again, highlight matchup of top lane here, definitely. Exact same matchup as we had last game. Maybe if we just do everything like we did last game, it'll be fine.
Maybe. Which means I have to change my mic settings back so that it sounds really robotic and awful.
Yeah, and I have to drop the F-bomb.
To be honest, I didn't even notice. I was too busy. I was just zoned in.
Ugh.
I don't know why I'm even like doing the hand motions there since no one can see it. But gonna go through the same bands once again. Just run through the draft as it was.
Yeah, and Clique, I see them as quite a heavy, strong top-sided team. They've picked a lot of carries within there. They've got the Camille, they've got the Silas, and they've got the Azir. All quite resource heavy. It'll be interesting to see where Pravius lays his hat and tries to put pressure on.
Will it be kind of like the last game? As you said, we have the same matchup in the top side. Do you expect for Pravius to be trying to put the pressure onto Dino Ricard up there, try and get Camille ahead, try and maybe not exactly snowball the Camille, but try and help out in the early game so it doesn't feel as bad?
Yeah, I think you would expect that. I'm thinking of this. I forgot that it was an Echo in the mid lane as well. Mental, we've seen deviate onto a lot of these off-meta picks. He's picked the Diana as well. He's also has he picked the Malzahar? He's picked the Malzahar as well. All quite unorthodox picks at the moment. I mean, they may have been viable previously, but with the mid pool being taken out, maybe that was their strategy actually. They banned 5 mid picks, and then if Mental doesn't play those meta mid picks anyway, then it kind of makes sense, I think, to be able to just ban the metas and then pick off meta, because that's what Mental's going to do anyway. But like we saw,
how does the Echo play into the Azir? Is it a favorable matchup for him? Is it what they were trying to force him onto?
I think so.
It plays well.
I think so. Honestly, I'm not mid lane. I don't know mid lane matchups. Echo, I haven't played in a very long time. We'll see, but we do see.
I feel like Sif, it's a skill matchup that is slightly weighted in favor of the Echo, because you have your Chrono Break, where if you get knocked back with the Emperor's Divide, you can just Chrono Break back, and
true.
Will be like forced to take like your kind of the bomb to the face, as it were. You have so much mobility as well, and you have CC, so I feel like Sif should be good, but then towards the late game, if Azir gets onto you early, then if you don't have your ultimate, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah,
that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, I really like the comp coming out of the side of Radiant, actually. I think that the side of Clique, maybe they're getting a little bit cocky here. They've gone for very high damage comp. If an Aatrox gets in there and manages to get fed or gets a big ultimate, big Q pop, I can see a lot of bodies hitting the floor, but we'll have to find out. I am going to move us to the casting screen.
So we're keeping our eyes on this top lane matchup, like in the last game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe we'll see it play out the same way. I think there'll be more attention to the top side there. We don't have the same jungle matchups completely. We do have a Silas. It's more on the Camille side now. Not as great ultimate to take away. You can't steal the Camille one and keep her in there, keep the baby cage on.
But you do have a decent amount of good combat ults to steal, like the Cataclysm. You have the Aatrox one isn't as good as it used to be because you don't have the Bloodwell. You have the Chrono Break, Ace in the Hole, File Spark, of course, for those snipe potentials. But as you said, you don't have the Camille ult to just kind of lock everyone in. You don't have the Sejuani ult just for that AoE stun as well. So maybe not as hard CC as in the last game, not as utilitous as the last game, but I still think that the sides can work out relatively well. But this bot side is what I really want to focus in on for the time being, because both heavy poke bot lanes, how will this really work out in the first few levels?
I would expect the Caitlyn and the Lux lane to be able to have the priority towards there and push things up a little bit and have a little bit more of the harass. They're both double range matchups in the bot lane, so they will be able to even things out a little bit. They both have decent wave clear, but it's unsure.
Because the Karma is known for a lot of poke, Lux a lot of poke, Sivir wave clear and push, and the Caitlyn has the extra range, so it just feels like if it's just going to be a matter of who really wants to go for the extra poke over maybe going for the extra CS.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It will really be... I think the second highlight matchup probably would be the jungle, especially with the picks that have come out here. I will expect J4 to be able to have the advantage in that, especially in the early. I think it's a time for Tyron to prove himself on something that's not one of his one tricks. He's had them. He's never gonna be able to get that Evelyn, I don't think, in any sort of game. He had a pretty good game on that Sejuani, the MVP performance coming out. It will be good to see him against Previous and maybe try and exploit him a little bit. Previous not going towards a more supportive champion to more facilitate his solo laners, but maybe it will work out for him, maybe not.
Maybe they can keep their winning streak going, potentially, in this game, but they are against one of our supposed top 3 teams in Radiant. They're meant to be kind of vying for a top 3 position, if not a top 2 position, and they're doing relatively well at this point. They're 2-1. I almost said 3-1. Almost let the script slide. They're 2-1 at this point, so they're doing relatively well. They did give up a win to NSG last week, which was kind of an upset since it was NSG's first win of the split because of the FF due to the roster lock and due to them losing out in their first week. Yeah. So they're looking decent, but I still feel like it's heavily in favor of Clique.
Yeah, I think so. I think Radiant last week, I think they'll be disappointed not to come out with that win. It sort of just reached the late game Casper win condition, made things a bit more difficult for them. Not too sure it's a slate against them. Maybe they'll need to be better at closing out those games when they do pick up those leads. We've got Dino Ricard a bit more of a meta pick in the Aatrox and a bit of a stronger pick. He did go for the Warwick top last week, which is a bit more unorthodox, but yeah. If he's able to pilot the Aatrox really well, I think he can be another 1v9 start for the team.
Hopefully he can be, but it's not the Kled that we saw for the clutch base defense before from Dino Ricard, so with the Camille out scaling him eventually, it might feel a little bit bad for Dino Ricard in that top side. The mid lane, is there any potential for really roaming from either of these mid laners? You'd expect a bit more from the Echo, right?
Yeah, I mean, they both have TP, so they will be able to have that safety. I would like to see Echo moving in and trying to influence the lanes a little bit more with the pressure he's able to generate from mid, but I expected maybe things to go towards the top side. I think this is the matchup you'll want to be watching. This is the most volatile one.
Yeah.
I think that Bendix is a really hard player to beat. I don't think you'll be able to take much out of him. Maybe you can give Mental a little bit of help, but I think you want to be trying to break open this top side or maybe this bot side and try and gain the advantage there where you have a bit more of a chance.
So that's where we're going to see Tyron going for the pressure, or will Previous also be matching that?
I think it goes both ways, yeah. I don't think much attention will be paid towards the mid lane. I mean, Echo, I'd like to say Echo is a bit more of a pick where you would be expecting that, but from what we've seen from Mental so far, I don't think he's the player that they want to be playing around to try and win them these games.
Well, we'll have to see where they want to play around as we are into the Rift for our second game of the day. It is our match of the week between Clique and Radiant. We're expecting the usual lines of scrimmage, nothing too odd or interesting from either side just yet. Nothing picked up by either of the supports for any bit of CC.
Yeah, just standard lanes coming out here, standard starts, sorry. Just moving in to protect. They do have, Karma, Lux pretty good at blocking those ones, but standard from both teams. Nothing too exciting.
Just gonna establish a little bit of vision there by the wall in the middle lane as well, just to make sure that they can spot any shenanigans out if anything were to happen.
And we do see grass being picked up by Akkers as opposed to the Klepto that was picked up last game. Gonna have less scaling but much more laning power with that. The grass now pretty standard among Camille's to be able to have that extra lane pressure and be able to kite around the Aatrox Qs a bit easier when you pop your Q and you get that extra movement speed. Taking Doran's shield as well, so he was showing he is a little bit scared of the Aatrox early. He will be able to match her in lane and do pretty well against her, especially with that passive, and he has also taken the grasp.
Yep, he knows exactly what's up. He knows that he's going to lose out in the early half a dozen levels or so at least. And Previous will be starting off on his Wolves instead of starting off on his red buff or on his Raptors, because they do have some deep vision into that top side quadrant of the jungle just to spot him out if he were to start off up there.
Yeah, we do see Tyron actually going for a quick invade here. He's going to move on to the blue buff, pushing him off it. Yeah, no, I just don't think that Previous is able to contest that, really. I'm actually going to... Yeah, he takes the blue buff. What a Chad move. What a Chad move.
And going for the level 2 gank into the bottom side as well. Might be able to burn a flash or two, but they know that he's going down there, so they do play relatively safe. Previous will clear away this vision ward as Akkers is taking worse for it in this top side, even though he's ahead on a bit of CS.
Yeah, he's taking good trades there, as you can see, with the grass being able to muscle his way through that matchup. We'll expect Dynarokar to just pick up that wave, so probably won't amount to much anyway. OSP getting quite low in these trades, though.
So is Hyoyoung, but that was a good spell shield from the life binding. Just expected the spell shield to come through as Abscond Abduct comes through from Previous in the middle lane. Will not be able to find any target with it, so Mental will manage to get out with the phase dive.
Yeah, good early gank coming in from Previous there to lay a bit of pressure onto that mid lane. Ooh, big chunk coming in from Dynarokar there.
It's a good thing that Akkers decided to go for the more defensive Torrent's shield, because otherwise he'd be feeling pretty bad in this top side, because he's just taking so many bad trades, and Mental is also taking a worse for wear thanks to the electrocute from Bendix.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying his best to push up through that lane and try and gain advantages where he can, but Bendix holding strong, proving his worth on that pick as well.
Akkers has to try and get away, will be pulled back by the Infernal Chain, still has the flash available. We'll get the shield from the Hex Tech sweep, and he knows that there wasn't enough kill pressure from Dynarokar in that top side just yet. Throws out the Boomerang Blade here, out comes the Tether as well, but Jin Lightning just gonna try and trade some damage back. We'll manage to trade quite decently.
Yeah, good trade coming in from the bot side there. Jin Lightning just edging away with the auto attacks onto them. Didn't really have much concern. They were going for Hyoyoung, and he manages to get away quite cleanly.
And now several pings coming out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a ACS lead. It's ranged into melee, but it also does just prove Bendix being able to muscle his way through that matchup and be able to hold steady and get a decent lead so early on, actually.
And everything working out exactly the way that we expected it to, and Gold is pretty dead on even, but look at the damage coming down onto Mental. It is pretty horrible. It forces him out. He has to back away. OSP gonna try and get some chunk damage down. Hyoyoung taking a lot of damage there. Neither jungler is really doing anything just yet. We just had that quick almost gank from Previous in the middle lane, and the rest of the time it's just been farming.
I think we can expect another Flame Horizon coming out this game. That's 40 CS to 25 already in the lane.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that CS differential, and still level 5 to level 5, so he's not feeling too bad, even though he's 20 CS behind. He's 300 gold down, which in this early stage will not feel very good, but he's picked up that Dark Steel just for a little bit more sustain.
Yeah, and the early matchups in top lane sort of playing out as we expect. The Aatrox should be able to wean his way through and pick up a little bit of an advantage there. Not too much action in the game so far. The junglers sort of going in for little skirmishes in the lanes, but nothing happening too much here.
We don't exactly want them to go for a thing that's too ambitious and just give up first blood or give up any other sort of advantage. And now Bendix just zoning Mental away from the wave. Throws up the Time Wander, will manage to pick up that kind of minion as well, but he loses a third of his life for it.
Yeah, I think that Tyron does need to start making things happen on this J4 pick. He'll be picking up the levels. I mean, he took the double buff from Previous early, which is great, but he hasn't really done anything with that advantage. They're sitting at a similar amount of CS, they're same level, hasn't been able to get any sort of ganks off at all. Nothing really happening.
And with the first Drake being the Ocean Drake, it's not the most hotly contested one. So we aren't expecting a lot of real skirmishes or priority to be put on this Drake. But Akers, surprisingly, is keeping up in farm in a relative sense, because he is only down by about a wave and he still has a huge amount of sustain left, thanks to his Biscuit and his pot. Darukar now has the ultimate available, so we'll be able to chase him down with extra movement speed. Dark Blade will hit twice, and Akers just keeps getting poked out.
Do you see Previous? He is going to be spotted on a ward moving in through there to give a little bit of support to Akers, but there's nothing in that side for you to take, Previous.
It's already been cleared out, and he is behind by 7 CS now in jungle creeps, but J4 towards his middle lane will not be able to find anything there, and W will be thrown out, but won't be able to find anything either.
Every time I look up to this top lane, Dynamicar's getting a really good trade-off, and then Akers comes back in. Oh.
Yeah, he has a precision protocol for the extra damage, and will hit the Darker Blade 3 times in a row. Flash available for Akers, just gonna go back in to try and get a bit of a trade. Still no kill pressure from Dynamicar just yet, doesn't want to burn his flash for flash, but will force Akers out.
Yeah, he still had a lot there to be able to get out with. Maybe he was a bit scared of Previous being in the side wave coming out to play, give him a little fight, but in the bot side, so just be able to take up farm. Nice CS lead being picked up in the top side now with Akers moving up. He doesn't have TP, so he is going to have to walk back in there, and he's going to lose a decent amount on this wave. Dynamicar,
and even just from CS, 700 gold difference between the two teams. Mental in a lot of trouble. He already used his ult to get back to the lane, which is something I was going to mention. He used his ult to get back to the lane because he didn't have TP, and that means that he couldn't do anything in that engage to try and find any kill pressure around Previous. Previous no mana, so wouldn't be able to follow up himself, although he did steal away the ultimate from Mental.
Yeah, I just see the game sort of slowly edging towards the side of Clique here. They're going to be trying to pick up this dragon here. There's not much contestability from Radiant to be able to stop it. I think they'll take this quite cleanly. Just pops the ulti. Might as well. It's going to go off anyway.
A little bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra heal as well.
Yeah.
Zero chance of contestation. They didn't have the bot lane pressure. They didn't have the mid lane pressure, which has now gone in favor of Mental. And he's now looking for a roam, but will be spotted out on a ward.
Do you have the Rift Roll coming up in about 30 seconds time? Maybe one of the teams will try and pressure him for that. Give it a little go.
It's definitely needed from the side of Radiant anyway. They need to try and get some semblance of a gold lead here, since they are behind by 400 or 500 gold. Even just in the CS differential. Look at the CS difference between Bendix and Mental already. It's 25 CS in favor of Bendix on this back.
Yeah, it's just
so much damage. The light binding, if that connected, he would have been dead. Final spark. He will go down with the ace in the hole, but in the top side, Previous finds Abscond to abduct. Akers has to flash away, but he's locked in the Cataclysm, so Previous has to flash as well. Dino Ricard flashes forward. Will go golden just to buy a little bit of time. Will he be able to find anything? Last Dark and Blade will not be able to hit, so no one dies in this top side, but 3 are so low. Flag and Dragon
still gonna go for something.
Ooh. Nope, we'll just use the Q, will not have the flag to drag.
And the game just suddenly explodes on both sides of the map there. Great little ultimates from the side of Radiant with the bot lane. Be able to pick up the kills there. And
it was really nice to get the flash out of OSP with the File Spark, and then the Ace in the Hole just had enough damage because of the File Spark damage coming through as well.
Yeah, definitely. I will expect... Oh, he is spotted out here.
Yeah,
Previous just waiting in the wings.
Him, hook shot, abscond, abduct, one auto attack from Akers will secure the kill.
Well played from Clique there, and Previous just waiting, biding his time for Akers to move down to be able to get that pickup. Maybe moving in, he's going to take the Herald now. That's going to be a lot of gold swinging to the side of Clique.
It is just... It's what we expected from this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a little bit longer for things to come online and things to happen, but with the matchups going the way that they have, I think it's expected that we'd be waiting this long with the Azir, with the Camille, into the Aatrox as well. Would have expected to see a bit more action from junglers, but nice little play in top lane there for the side of Clique to be able to get the Herald and get the kill.
We're 11 minutes in, and already a Gnasher's Tooth from Bendix.
Yeah,
I mean, a monster.
In fairness to Mental, as he's managed to pick up more points into the queue to be able to farm the wave and get a bit more AP damage, he's managed to keep the CS deficit at around 30, which is, you know, it hasn't increased, which is good.
Oh, Young has to flash away, but the tether is still on. Will pop him in the back of the head. Satno flashes away. Ace in the Hole will secure that kill. Double kill now for the Caitlyn.
Not respecting the Caitlyn power spike there. She's walked back into lane. She's got the Infinity Edge. You need to be looking at that. And she's obviously just going to pop you there. Seeing some of those crits in that fight were pretty filthy.
He is 3-0. It is definitely Jinsane instead of Jinting this game. Mental goes for a trade, but will come out worse for wear previous there just to hold the wave, try and get a little bit of damage down onto Jinsane. Ace in the Hole has been stolen away. Abscond Abduct. He's going for a 2 versus 1 here. He's taking a lot of damage. In comes the Cataclysm. Will take him out.
Yeah, a little cocky there, and again, not respecting that Caitlyn Infinity Edge. That's going to be so much gold in the pocket of Caitlyn there. She's got 1.5k to be going back and spending there. She's going to be even stronger, and this has really given Radiant a win condition for this game.
It really, really has, but you still have Bendix as your win condition from Clique, so you have to be relying on him, especially since OSP is not stepping up right now. Previous went for that really questionable and greedy play there. He went 2 versus 1, and I don't even know if he really wanted to go 1 versus 1 against Shinting with this Infinity Edge.
Yeah, Previous is going to move into the top side here. He'll probably want to be trying to use that Herald before 14 minutes, but it looks like he's just going on the Golems. It would have been a really good point here to move up into the top lane, pop the Herald, get those plates off top, because Aatrox is back. There's nothing that he could do about it. We do see J4 moving into the bot side now, but he is spotted out on a ward.
He's just going to back away, but it would have been really good, as you said, to go towards the top side with that Rift Herald. Only half left on the timer for it, and Dynarcar didn't have the teleport to respond to it either, so would have gotten a lot of tower plates for the Camille, which, as we said,
moving down to the mid lane,
really needs the help in the early part of the game. But Hyoyeon, again, taking a lot of poke damage from the bottom lane here. But J4 is nearby, Flag Drag over the wall, but he doesn't have that for an engage. Hasn't the Cataclysm either.
Akker's moving in here. He has Silas to back him up. He has the ultimate as well. He's just biding his time, waiting for it to come in.
Out comes the Hexic Ultimatum, in comes the Throne Chains as well. Abscond Abduct will not land onto anything. Akker's taking a lot of damage from the Darkened Blade. Will use the last shot, but he's going to win the 2 versus 1 here. Previous uses the Kingslayer to get a lot of damage, but a lot of healing back. Won't miss the next slice of the Darkened Blade. Forces both of them away. Doesn't get a kill, but he survives.
And Dynarcar does so well there to be able to hold that off. Previous just a little bit squishy at the moment. Akker's not really picking up the items to be strong at the moment. He's just hit.
He is in the lane now. Dynarcar overstayed his welcome. He hasn't the flash available. A few more seconds as Bendix will fly his way and get Akers the kill.
Yeah, Akker's getting more gold. Will be able to even up that matchup a little bit more. Good roam from Bendix there to be able to sense that he's going to stay, and his flash just came up, so he maybe could have escaped there, but yeah, no good play from the side of Clique, but they do return it with a mid lane take, and that will be first tower going over to the side of Radiant.
I think it was 3 seconds until it came back up when he died, so it feels pretty bad for him, but he's doing relatively well on the top side. He's ahead by about 25 CS, but Akers is 2-0, so he's feeling pretty safe up there.
Yeah, no, he should start to do okay there. He's only, yeah, like you said, a small amount of gold ahead. Both teams actually quite even at the moment, both of the Ocean Drake as well. Bendix increasing his CS lead, ever more so though.
And for the first time, Radiant is ahead in this game. They're ahead by 2,000 gold, thereabouts, and they popped the Rift Herald in the middle lane as well, and it is post 14 minutes, so we'll not be able to pick up any of the tower planing, but will help him get more damage onto this objective.
Yeah, not much else is going to happen with that Rift Herald. It was more sort of forced because it was going to run out of the timer. Do get a little bit of damage onto that, but they don't manage to take anything. You do see them moving into towards the bot side now. Dynarikar on his own. He's very low after those trades.
He has the flash available this time though. Bendix gonna make his way down, but decides against it. Will go back and respond to the push from Mental, but as you said, Previous is there. Throws at the Q just to deter him from the back. Steals away the ultimate for the extra movement speed. Dynarikar gonna try and take the fight. Doesn't use his ultimate, now he does, and gonna be chasing onto Previous here, but in comes the Karma off to the side. Dark Blade doing so much work, flashes away. Kingslayer will heal him up a lot as out comes the Terror, out comes the root, and out comes the kill.
Good flash there from Previous to be able to dodge the damage from the Aatrox. That's where all the damage comes from, those big Qs, and he manages to miss it out there. Jin Lightning, though, just going to chip away at this tower in the top lane. No one really wants to go near him at the moment. He is very, very strong, and he's about to pick up his next item.
He is indeed. He has the makings of 2 different items. There's 700 gold now in his pocket, so he's edging ever closer to that Black Cleaver, but they're onto his tier 2 in the top and in the bot respectively, and so much damage from the Sivir going down onto this tier 2. They should be able to get it on this wave.
Yeah, it's good to be able to even up that tower lead there. It was 4-1 at one point, but now it'll be nice to even up the gold a little bit more now. That Caitlyn, like I said, just picked up her next item with the Rapid Fire Cannon and the Infinity Edge. She's going to be really strong, making her way to her 3rd item as well now.
Was just about to mention it.
Yeah.
Looking fierce, and has that 25 CS difference between himself and OSP as well, so that is 6,100 total gold in the pocket of OSP to the 8,000 total gold in the pocket of Jin Sane. So looking really, really good in OSP. Falling a bit flat this game, unfortunately, for Clique, but you still have that one condition of Bendix, who's edging towards his 2nd item.
Yeah, and we do see the Infernal Drake coming up in about a minute and a half. It's a bit more priority than the Ocean Drake. They will go for that, and they do see them camping the bush there.
Looking for something. Can they find it? Karma is nearby. We'll spot them out on a ward though, even if it gives them that briefest amount of vision. Mental takes a Mantra Power Q to the face and just gonna clear away this wave.
Side of Radiant just happy to get more and more farm on that Caitlyn. She's pretty strong right now. They'll want to be trying to use that to pick up the next Infernal, but happy to just keep the farm going as well. She will have that red buff for the next dragon coming up in about 40 seconds now. Both top laners have TP, so they will be able to move into the fight as well.
Radiant has the vision coverage around this Drake. Yes, you have the shrine coverage, but you don't have the total coverage around the region. Both mid laners towards this bottom side, as well as both bot laners and supports towards this mid lane, so they can rotate over, and as you rightly said, Dynarikar and Akers both have their TPs.
Yeah, we do have vision. Vision control is solidly in favor of the side of Radiant right now in terms of the Dragon Pit. They have a couple of pink wards out there. Oh.
4 seconds until this Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Clique just hovering around the bush, sticking around there. Aatrox has already moved down.
Yeah, that's a good flag. A good Emperor's Divide knocks back. Mental has to flash away as well as use the ultimate just to sustain himself and survive. In comes the teleport. As they will be able to sneak away this Drake. You were too busy trying to get the Echo and you didn't even get him. You lose everything on that play, but you get the top lane tier 1 Terror.
Yeah, well played from the side of Radiant being able to sneak in there. Noticed the commotion happening in the bot side, being able to go in and take that.
Radiant looking a lot better than I expected them to into our undefeated Clique, who are sitting at 3-0.
Yeah, and we spoke earlier about Previous playing a bit more of an aggressive, skill-orientated pick. He's not there to be supporting the solo lane. Oh,
Acker's caught out. Flag and Drag has the Cataclysm available, but doesn't want to go face first into Bendix, and his Sand Soldiers now sitting on the Morale-Nomicon and the Nashor's Tooth. We're 20 minutes in, so everyone's starting to reach around those 2 item power spikes, and it's looking good for Bendix, but you're hoping that he can be the hard carry we've seen him be previously.
yeah, definitely. I mean, looking to... Had a point, completely forgot it.
That's okay, that's okay. Baron is established on the map, so that will be the next objective that teams want to vie over. They will want to establish their own vision around that objective. Ward was placed down by Sentinel. There's going to get the reset from OSP and clear away some of this vision away from Radiant here.
Yeah, good vision cover from the side of Clique there. Moving up and towards the Baron. They will spot it out if anything happens. OSP did have to blow that TP in the fight, so we do see an advantage on the side of Radiant for the TPs. Very TP orientated game, actually. This one, 3 on both sides from every single lane, actually.
We're seeing a lot of TPs recently in the competitive meta, so not too surprising, but has popped on the hunt. Doesn't use the Cataclysm to lock them down. Could have forced a couple of flashes there, but didn't want to over-aggress. Will temper his aggression instead. Just gonna establish some vision around the Baron. Maybe even go for this, or bait it in.
Akis now with his items is going to be able to pressure a little bit more in this matchup.
Tries to get the Feral Chains down onto Akers, but doesn't manage to find the target. Will actually be used to take a minion instead. So the split push Camille is almost fully online. We're seeing him do a lot of work towards that bottom side. And Bendix is also towards the top side. So Akers comes in, lands the baby cage down onto Jinsane. He will be popped by Sentinel. He comes to teleport as well. Are they feeling good enough to go onto the Baron?
I think they'll go for it. They'll at least take the vision back from Radiant and get it in their favor. Yeah, they have started it. I mean, with Caitlyn down, that's their main source of damage. There's not much they can do to challenge it. Maybe with a good Q from Aatrox in the ultimate, they can try something.
Tyrant has the Flag and Drag, has the Cataclysm, will force them over.
Oh!
That's beautiful! It's on to 3 as Previous picks up the first kill of the fight. No one lost on the side of Clique. A double kill now coming through for OSP. That is the ace. And they pick up the Baron too. That was beautiful from Clique.
S+ player, S+ player. I mean, we'll ignore the fat-fingered stopwatch towards the end there when he didn't really need it, but still great play from him there to come out and win the fight. Oh yeah, it was just
and to make
style
sure
points.
that the rest of his team will get the kills, not himself. He's playing for the team.
Oh yeah. I mean, Radiant did have to go for that. They can't just let that go over, and they did have a chance to win that. Without the Caitlyn, it was very difficult, but good of them to go in and try something and not just let it go over. But that's a lot of gold going into Clique now, and it's going to be even more difficult for them to win the next fight.
4 versus 5, 4 kills around that Baron for the ace, because the Caitlyn was already dead from the previous engage. Feels bad, man. He's now 4,000 gold between the two teams, and Radiant were looking so good up to that point. They were 4-5, and 4-4, and now they're 4-9.
They haven't managed to use this Caitlyn early strength, really, and especially with the kills that came out from it. Civ is almost even now on items with her, and they just haven't been able to force the fights with it. They got a few towers with it, which was great, but fighting without her in that Baron pit really was a detriment to them.
It really was a poor decision. I think it was almost like a disrespect, but it was kind of, they didn't peel early enough, you know?
Yeah, no, there's not much they...
There was a bit of miscommunication, because 3 or 4 of them peeled, and then they were kind of like, are we going to keep going for this? Are we going to peel away? Are we going for this team fight? And then they half-heartedly went for it, and... I
mean, when you're going into a team fight against the S+ player Bendix, and he's on Azir, and he goes in, there's not much you can do. They all just fell to the wayside against him, too afraid.
But as you said, they had to go for the contest. They couldn't just let Clique go for this free Baron, and then there was that beautiful sliding glide, the Emperor's Divide as well from Bendix that just gave them the team fight on the silver platter.
Yeah, beautiful. We'll expect the Clique to be able to take this top tower pretty easily now. They'll just sit there, wait for the Baron. They have pretty good tower take with Sivir and Azir as well. It's not going to be too much resistance from Radiant to stop that. And Akka's now picking up even more items is going to start to beat him in that side push.
Yeah, it's a nice 4-1 from Clique. And he'll just get the hell out of dodge there. Has the Baron Empowered Recall as well to make sure that he can get away without Tyra and be able to push. And what looked so good at the start from Radiant is just starting to fall apart. And now they have their own Infernal Drake and Ocean Drake in their pockets. So they have equalized literally everything and then taken a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Caitlyn was there in that fight, maybe things would have worked out a bit different. I mean, Bendix probably still would have been able to go in there and put her in a precarious position.
She got caught in the Emperor's Divide as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe Jinsane would have been able to position a bit better, move himself out of it, but I think they still have a chance to win those fights with him. A Caitlyn 3-item spike is still very, very scary. I think that's still a way that they can get back into this game, hold things up a bit. But if Bendix is able to move in and misposition him, or Bravus is able to get in there and one-shot him, or even Akka's, there's so many threats towards this Caitlyn right now that it's going to be very difficult for them to peel for her.
And Bendix is towards that top side, making the map as wide and big as possible. Just to make sure that someone has to go respond to his push. You might have to send 2 or 3 people because it is Bendix, and he's on 3 items, so he can buy himself time with the Zanya's Hourglass as well. You have to have Akka's in this bottom side pushing away, so Dynarokar will match that. But Sylas and Karma are nearby in case something pops off, and Ace and Hole comes out just for a little bit of damage.
The good thing is, if Radiant do manage to win a team fight, a lot of shutdown gold, as you can see on the board there for them. So if they were to get an ace, that's a lot of gold back in you. You'll pull even there, but it's still going to be very difficult. Like I said, the Caitlyn is where most of your damage is going to be coming from, with the amount of threats on her. It's just not looking good. It's not looking pretty.
Especially with the amount of ways that Clique can get into that backline and just dive onto Jinsane.
Yeah, no chance.
I was gonna make a pun and be like, it's actually just Jinsane. How many? Yeah, it's a funny joke because Previous is going to go on to mental here as a chrono break, but we'll choose not to use it. I think that's the right decision. Akka's will get pulled back once again by the Infernal Chains.
That was even better than my Volibear Weather the Storm.
The way you said it, you see, I think it's your delivery. Because the way you said it, it sounded like as if you were accidentally making the pun, whereas I made it on purpose. But said it in a way that I was just like, I was going to do this, but I decided against it, even though I actually did it.
That was but you didn't commit to the pun. You should have just committed to it.
Yeah, I should have just committed to it. But yeah, I would have just got flamed in the chat anyway.
I don't know, man. But Freak's built his whole career off of that. Maybe you can get that far.
He has indeed. I don't want to talk about Freak. His puns are better, okay?
Yeah.
Or worse, depending on your view of puns. But if we zoom back in onto this game, 50 seconds until the next Ocean Drake will be up. It will be the last Ocean Drake of the game.
20 seconds on the Baron as well. They'll look to move in there. I think that Radiant do have to move in and try and fight something. They can't just let it go over again. I don't see them holding the base next time if the Baron does go over with little resistance.
You can't even fight the Karma 1 versus 1. Out comes the flash from Sentinel. He will be going down. Shutdown gold goes over to the Jarvan, but they're looking for a bit more here. Bendix caught out, has to go golden by a little bit of time. Stream with Shuffle as well as the Emperor's Divide will not do a huge amount. He will be going down. Flash away from OSP just to buy a little bit of space here. Dynarokar might be going down here. Throws out the Boomerang Blade as well as the W. Auto will do it. He will go on a killing spree. OSP finally starting to step up for his team.
That flash Q was extremely ambitious. He was on like 10 HP and he went in for it. But we see Akka's trying to take the bot lane as well.
Yeah, he's looking for it to take this tower. He doesn't care that Mental is on his back, and I really think that it's the right play to make. I don't think Mental can really do anything here. It's level 16 to level 17, yes, but Mental just doesn't have the damage to try and take Akers down. They will pick up an inhib, they will pick up this Ocean Drake as well. And even though you got the kill onto Bendix, you're just bleeding out slowly from Radiant.
I mean, it's a very different story to last game when we saw... Oh.
Akers will not be caught, but Mental will have to back away. The shield will sustain him a little bit and give him a little bit of extra movement speed.
Yeah, very different story in the top lane matchup. We saw the exact... I don't think they're going to get anything there. No one's walking past. But anyway, yeah, much less action within this game. The Aatrox really hasn't been able to pick up anything, so we didn't even see the early spike that you would normally see from Aatrox within the team fights. He's been getting off a decent amount of damage, but it's never really, as you can see, he's not been involved in any kill whatsoever. He's not really managed to make it work and finish them off.
Not looking great for Dino Rakar when he's not on his Kled so far. Ace in the hole onto Bendix will just stream a shuffle to safety. They're just going to establish their own vision for Radiant here around this Baron, looking for to maybe catch someone out, but as you said, no one's just going to wander by. They're just not going to face check these brushes. You're against Clique now.
They do have that inhib taken down in the bot lane, so it's going to be even harder to weather the pressure coming in from that bot side. And we do see Camille actually moving up into the mid lane. Maybe if he spots out the Caitlyn. Ah, no, he's just going back what?
He might try and catch out Dino Rakar here. He can very easily take him with the 3-level difference between the two top laners. We'll force him away and try and escort this wave towards the Nexus Towers. Forces the back out of the Caitlyn. We might be able to pick up this Baron as well because someone or multiple members of Radiant have to respond to Akers' push as well as Superman, so we'll start off on this objective.
It's going to melt so fast with the amount of damage Azir has now. Two members down with the Caitlyn as well. There's nothing they can do to pressure that, and
out comes the Shrema Shuffle, but you're in there too early, Tyron. Even with the Cataclysm, Mental will Crow break back to safety, but he'll be going down eventually.
Caitlyn's moving in the back.
Caitlyn will pick up one kill in the fight. Hyoyoung.
Akers is going to just end the game if they can stop them.
Has the GA. As you said, Akers is on the Nexus Towers. You just need to stop these backs. Shunting, you need to back here. Will be going down into his GA. Bendix now needs to sustain himself a little bit. Out comes the turret there from the passive of...
He's done it!
Flashes forward, Akers
they can end the game!
Takes out Dino Rakar. Only Hyoyoung to defend. Will go undefeated. Clique, it looked not so great against Radiant in the early part of the game, but they will continue and have a 4-0 winning streak.
Yeah, the Camille just too strong towards there. The Aatrox just can't put up with her. Even under turrets, he managed to take the kill pretty easily, and after that, game was just over. I thought maybe with Jin Lightning coming out there with a lot of damage, they'd maybe be able to come back in and clean them up after the Baron, at least remove the buff from them, but no, didn't manage to happen.
And even with 0 kill participation for Dino Rakar, he still had the most damage on his team. I think that speaks to how they played the game and how it really worked out for them in the end. Like, they didn't have huge amount of kill pressure after maybe 15 or 20 minutes in. And they just couldn't find the fights that they were looking for. Bendix got too strong for Mental. Even in the first 5 or 10 minutes, he was just out trading him every time, just from the range differential. And even though you had a 3-0 Caitlyn, you just couldn't find purchase in the game.
I mean, you expect it coming out from an Azir as well, but still, that damage from Bendix coming in. He didn't manage... I don't believe he managed to Flame Horizon this game. No, he didn't. Mental managing to keep up in